In a quaint little town, the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the small wedding venue where laughter and music filled the air. Among the guests was a single dad named James, a kind-hearted man with a shy smile, who had come to celebrate his friend's special day. He stood quietly by the edge of the dance floor, watching the newlyweds sway to their first dance, his heart warmed by their joy. His daughter, Lily, was off playing with other children, leaving him to enjoy a rare moment of peace. As the evening progressed, the crowd thickened, and James felt a mix of contentment and solitude, a familiar feeling for a man raising a child alone. The bride, Sarah, radiant in her white gown, noticed James standing alone and felt a tug of empathy. She had known him for years, ever since he moved to town with Lily after his wife's passing. Sarah whispered something to her new husband, who nodded with a grin, and soon she broke away from the dance floor. With a determined step, she approached James, her eyes sparkling with mischief and kindness. "You've been hiding long enough," she said playfully, extending her hand toward him. James hesitated, his cheeks flushing, but the warmth in her voice made it impossible to refuse. "Dance with me," Sarah said softly, her hand still outstretched, a gentle command wrapped in a smile. James chuckled nervously, glancing around as if the room might judge him, but the other guests were too lost in their own celebrations to notice. He took her hand, feeling the softness of her grip, and let her lead him to the center of the floor. The music shifted to a slower tune, and Sarah guided him with ease, her movements graceful despite his awkward steps. For a moment, he forgot his self-consciousness, lost in the rhythm and her reassuring presence. As they danced, the room seemed to fade away, leaving just the two of them swaying under the soft lights. James, usually so reserved, found himself talking, sharing small stories about Lily's latest adventures and the challenges of single parenthood. Sarah listened intently, her laughter ringing out like a melody, encouraging him to open up more. The connection felt unexpected yet natural, a bridge between their different worlds. He marveled at how a simple dance could unravel the quiet walls he'd built around himself over the years. Across the room, Lily spotted her dad dancing and tugged at her new friend's sleeve, pointing with excitement. "That's my daddy," she exclaimed, her voice full of pride. The other children giggled, but Lily's joy was infectious, and soon a small crowd of kids gathered to watch. Sarah caught Lily's eye and waved, pulling James into a little twirl that made him laugh, a sound so rare it turned heads. The dance became more than just a moment. It was a celebration of family, friendship, and the unexpected beauty of human connection. The song ended, but Sarah didn't let go immediately. "You're a natural," she teased, and James shook his head, still smiling. The guests applauded, some whistling, and he felt a warmth spread through him, a sense of belonging he hadn't known he needed. Sarah squeezed his hand before stepping back, promising to save another dance for him later. As she returned to her husband, James stood there, heart pounding, realizing how much this night had already changed him. He glanced at Lily, who ran over to hug him, and he knew this memory would stay with them both. Later, as the night deepened, the DJ announced an open dance floor, and couples and friends paired up. James, emboldened by Sarah's kindness, decided to join in, pulling Lily into a silly dance that had her giggling uncontrollably. Other guests joined, forming a circle around them, clapping and cheering. The whiteboard in the background, scribbled with "Only Femmes," seemed to mock the moment with its playful irrelevance, but no one cared. The room was alive with love, and James felt a part of it, his usual solitude replaced by a newfound camaraderie. Sarah's husband, Tom, approached James with a beer, clapping him on the shoulder. "You're part of the family now," he joked, and James nodded, accepting the drink with a grateful smile. The conversation flowed easily, touching on life, loss, and hope, and James found himself opening up in ways he hadn't since his wife was alive. Tom shared his own story of meeting Sarah, and the parallel to James's journey struck a chord. It was a night of revelations, each dance and chat weaving a new thread into the fabric of his life. As the wedding wound down, the stars peeked through the venue's windows, and James sat with Lily, her head resting on his shoulder. She whispered, "Daddy, you looked happy dancing," and he kissed her forehead, agreeing silently. The night had transformed him, lifting a weight he hadn't known he carried. Sarah and Tom came by to say goodbye, promising to visit soon, and James felt a lump in his throat. This wasn't just a wedding, it was a turning point, a step toward healing and new beginnings. With the last notes of music fading, James and Lily walked hand in hand to their car, the cool night air brushing their faces. He glanced back at the venue, the whiteboard still visible, now a symbol of the night's unexpected joy. Only Femmes felt like a distant joke compared to the unity he'd experienced. As they drove home, Lily chattered about the dance, and James smiled, knowing this memory would carry them forward. The single dad who was just a guest had found a place to belong, all because she took his hand and said, "Dance with me."